chilly Teutonic Tules, we got young King Otto, his boily baby in one hand and his dearly departed in the other. Babe beginning to howl hungrily as Mama cools rapidly. He raises his gaze to the heavens for guidance. Nothing but nothingness. He lowers his eyes to the earth, caught with weeds and cold boulders. And then, from the Stygian depths of his despair, a sight both beautiful and terrible. Uplifted to the frosty sun, the twin bounties of his lifeless bride, leaking like alabaster fountains. That's when our hard-hearted heroes started going, as they say, a little bit around the bend. But who's to say? If you can get blood out of a boulder, who's to say you can't get milk out of a corpse? And after that, a nanny goat, and after that, an ass. There were also hen houses and cabbage patches and tuber cellars and corn ricks to sleep in and horse blankets to borrow. The rubes never seemed to notice. They plundered the rustic countryside with what seemed to be complete impunity. Never occurred to Otto that the rubes were witness to his every clumsy theft. He and his offspring, they were the excited gossip of every hut and hovel in the hinterlands. Here was the royal family. Now crazy Otto the Bloody, king of all he surveyed, with his pimply prince under his arm like a prize pig, filching curds and blackbreads off back steps like common thieves. In fact, it never occurred to poor addled Otto that he was king of anything, until he crested a rise one wondering morn and saw in the distance a castle grand. Home, he told the kid. Otto was puzzled that they passed through the gate unchallenged. Once inside, he saw why. He'd slept in cleaner hog pens. Dismal desolation was everywhere he looked. Rat-ridden alleyways, run-down shops, citizens cowering under the baleful watch of helmeted guards. I mean, Bummersville. How could things around the old hometown have changed so much in just such a few short months? Never occurred to him that things around town had not changed at all. He had. He marched up the steps past the gawking guards straight into the royal court, right in the middle of the afternoon scourging session. A goodly assortment of peasants were being flogged. To purge their filthy souls, the purgers let it be known, in preparation for the apocalyptic extravaganza which was still impending. Liftoff had been put off, you see, to allow time for this holy house-cleaning. Enough already! As your king, I command you to cease this bullshit forevermore. The presiding priests piss their royal robes, but they try to bluff it out. What proof has he that he's their king? He certainly doesn't look like their king, all raggedy and hairy like a crazy man. And besides, their king had been carried up to glory from the mountaintop. Many had witnessed this miracle. Who could testify otherwise? They demand in rising clamor. What about the baby? Otto holds up the protesting child. What about the baby? And the clamor is cut off in mid-rise by the twisted logic of this crazy man's question, because right there it lies, the eternal kernel of this long-winded enterprise. What about the baby? Otto demands again, what about the baby? And the baby cries, and the prostrate peasants from the floor do rise. What about the baby? They take up the cry. What about the baby? What about the baby? And the priests and inquisitors and guards realize the jig is up. The rubes have turned. It's every holy man for himself. Now the moral of this twisted story, more twisted perhaps than true, is that there is no end to glory, for the new belongs to the new.
Hard times need strong rituals. Hard times need strong rituals.